Alright, we're going to do a little general maintenance on the 72 Mercury Comet today. It's got the 302 in it. Has an old points ignition and all that stuff. It's idling kind of weird, especially once it gets warm. It could just be, an old worn out engine, but I don't know. I bought some spark plugs, so I'm gonna swap those out and give that a shot. Maybe that's it. Sounds like it's kind of breaking up at RPM, so could just be some fouled spark plugs. Who knows? There we go. But might as well do that since the Camaro's still down. I haven't heard anything back from Holly yet, so I still need to clean up everything like I said I was going to, and I haven't got around to doing, so it happens. One thing I love about this car has a giant bench seat, so instead of having to squeeze in over on this side, scoot right across it. Easy as that. Alright, so another interesting thing about this car, it's got factory AC, kind of works, kind of doesn't. But all it has are these gauges. It has a fuel gauge, temp, oil, alternator, and brakes. And there's really no gauges for them. It's just the idiot light. So if something's wrong with it, it's going to come up. Speedometer goes to 120. Never ever will go 120 in this car, but that's alright. So, it hasn't started in a while, and it's a carburetor, so here we go. Last time we drove it was at that car show, Wings and Wheels. It drove pretty good there, but like it's doing right now, it kept wanting to break up, and by the time we left and got back home, it was running pretty rough. But I'll tell you what, it stayed nice and cool the whole time, and we made it there and we made it back. I guess that's all that really matters. So it's kind of warming up right now. But you can just hear it just sitting here. It's like kind of choppy, and the idle's kind of high, but that's probably from me messing around with it. It also has a choke. I guess that could be something I can look into, but I don't know. I'm just going to start with these spark plugs. So I thought I was running really weird there for a second while I was letting it warm up, and I'm guessing it's probably because, I forgot to put the one spark plug I was messing with, forgot to put the plug back on, so, that would probably make it run a little weird, but I wish that was the only problem we had. That'd be a real easy fix today. So, there you go. She's back on now, but I'm going to take you guys out once I start it back up and let you hear it. So I'm not sure what the system's called on this, but the choke on this carburetor, basically you have this hose coming from the radiator here, right next to this guy, and that picks up when it's hot and when it's cold, so that can control this choke opening and closing. And it looks like it's working actually. I mean, it's moving that choke, so I don't have any suspicion that that's it. But it's always something to keep in mind on here. Other than that, it's basically just an old Holly carburetor. I think it's a Carter. But she runs pretty good. I lowered the idle down a little bit to see if maybe that helps any. But here's what it sounds like. You gotta hear it just a little bit breaking up. Just a little bit. But Alright, I don't want to get it too hot because I got to mess with those plugs, so. Alright, getting kind of late, but I'm going to try to swap out a couple of these today and see how they look at least. So I'm going to set the camera down and do a little time lapse of it. So I've got the first one out here, and you can see it's been in there a while. I don't know how long they've been in there, but they're starting to rust and everything. It was a pain in the butt to get it out. But just look how white, and it's obvious that it's running pretty lean. I don't think that I really want to mess with the carburetor, so it's probably going to keep running lean. But at least I'll be able to put some new ones in there and see if that helps a bit. I'm starting to think that it is. So I'm going to try to get the rest of them, but they're pretty snug in there, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, spark plugs are all out, and just going over them real quick. Bring this closer. You can see this is one, so they're all pretty white, so it's running kind of lean. Nothing crazy, it's not a performance car, so I'm not too worried about that. Some of them were a little bit darker, but gosh, some of them took forever to get out. Like this guy here, you can tell nobody used any grease to install that on there. But you can also see the gap on that one doesn't really look gapped at all, the majority of those. But then there's this one here. I mean, it looks pretty gapped to me. Same as this one. So some of them were gapped, some of them weren't gapped, some of them were hard to get out, some of them were finger tight basically. But the bigger issue I found while doing this were these spark plug wires. They are junk, that's for sure. And I was actually going through them, and let me see if I can find it for you. Yeah, right here. It's built by Packard. So, I've got a striking suspicion that Packard is no longer in business, so those wires are very, very old. And then also a couple of the spark plug connectors, the boot connectors, came out when I was pulling it. It just completely separated from the wire inside there. So I've got a feeling that the wires are probably a bigger issue than these plugs. So I'll probably find a cheap set of those wires, replace it real quick, and see where that gets me. But that's all I'm doing for tonight. Nice easy job, but I'll probably be back tomorrow with some wires, and I've got my new spark plugs already, so yeah, we'll see how it goes though. See ya. Ooh, man, you're quick. You're quick, mister. Brody. Brody. Hi. Hey. What do you think you're doing? Oh my gosh, that thing's half the size as you. You really think you can pull that thing around? Brody. Hey. There you go. That's more of a sticker size. Want me to throw it? Let me see that. Let me see that. Brody, let me see that. Come on. Hey, let go. Okay. Okay, fine, I won't throw it.